E-bikes are making waves across the country and across the world. And now, those waves have hit Charleston with Rebellion Roads, Charleston's first e-bike fleet. I talk one-on-one with the owner of Rebellion Roads, Weatherby, for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Ellsworth Weatherby, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on, Quintin.
Oh, you're very welcome. Obviously, you're the founder of Rebellion Bike Roads, and obviously you all sell a lot of e-bikes around Charleston, and people rent from you all day long, and it's just an amazing story. But let me ask you this, Ellsworth. How rebellious are your bikes right now on the roads?
They are not. They are compliant with South Carolina law that was enacted in 2020.
Right.
And so they are governed at 20 miles an hour, and they operate under pedal assist.
Right.
And so I would say the idea of the rebellious, the name Rebellion Roads came to me after reading an article in the Moultrie News written by Suzanne Smith Miles. And Rebellion Roads is a historic anchorage in Charleston Harbor, where pre-revolutionary ships would park to sort of stay out of gun range of the few cannons that could reach there. And I like the name. I sort of am trying to push the boundary of, what kind of transportation is available in Charleston. We all live with traffic and parking problems here in the coastal communities. And at the time of forming the company, there was no one else renting e-bikes. And I mean, that was my light bulb moment. I said, no one's renting them here. I'm going to be that guy. And, I was miserable at my existing job at the patent office. So I didn't want my kids to watch me being miserable. And so I followed my dreams, and it's been an amazing ride.
Amazing ride. What is the biggest difference from when you founded this company to right now?
Well, when I first started it, I was 100% kumbaya. I didn't know what I was doing. I was thinking I was going to, have, bike share stations, and, it was very lofty goals. But I started out with a small fleet and recognized mostly that those outdoor bike share stations, I think that I'm not sure I believe that those can support an e-bike fleet, because e-bikes are sensitive, pieces of machinery. They have batteries that aren't supposed to be in the heat.
Right.
You've got to keep them well lubed and oiled regularly to make sure that it's safe operation if you're renting them. On the consumer level, they're stored inside. You take a lot better care of them. But, renters beat them up. And I wouldn't want to put people on a bike that's not well-tuned, because, having a motor on a bike that's not well-tuned, it could be a problem.
And I know Rebellion Roads is a one-stop shop for all of your electric bike requirements. What requirements do you have in your shop right now?
I'm sorry, you mean what bikes do I?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Let's talk about the electric bike requirements. What are those typically?
Requirements to be legal, or
let me reread that. Rebellion Roads is a one-stop shop for all of your electric bike requirements, as you've studied on your website. What are those requirements?
So, we want to make sure that we can get as many butts on bikes as possible. So a lot of times, most e-bike riders are first-time riders, and they're a little bit intimidated by the notion of getting on an electric bike. And so we have step-through models. We have inexpensive models. We want to make it as easy for people to ride or own an electric bike as possible. We try to sell an experience of riding electric bikes. So, we do tours. We even used to do date nights. We'll still do them when people call us.
Yes.
And we do rentals. We do deliveries. And then we'll sell you the bikes that you rode brand new, because that's kind of our model. We like the idea of knowing our bikes have gone through the ringer. They've been destroyed by our renters. They hold up really well, so we're confident selling them to the consumer. And another thing we notice is, being a first-time e-biker, e-bikes, in 2019, prices sort of started to come down below $2,000. But that entry-level price is still pretty high for a lot of first-time bikers, e-bikers. I don't know who wants to just go and drop $2,000 on a bicycle that could get stolen, right. And so we really try to stress inexpensive. but still very reliable. And then at the same time, we service all e-bikes. So we're not mad if you don't decide to buy one of our e-bikes. We think ours are the best, but we'll service and build your e-bike from wherever it is. We carry a bunch of parts. Just to maintain a rental fleet takes a lot of resources. And so we're happy to, we have those resources that we share with customers of any e-bike. We basically can fix any problem that people come up with on an e-bike. If they bring it in, we'll fix it.
And what are those other resources that you have in your store right now?
We have extra tubes, tires, controllers, displays, brakes. I mean, we're a full-fledged bike shop, e-bike shop. We carry a couple cruisers. Just we do get calls for people wanting regular bikes occasionally. But mostly we try to be a dedicated electric bike shop.
You talked earlier, obviously, about those prices, which are like in the range of 2,000 plus. What were the prices when you first started your business to what it is right now?
So I got my first e-bike in 2018, and really one of the biggest players in e-bikes right now is a company called Rad Power Bikes. And they really did a good job setting a benchmark. Prior to Rad Power Bikes, every single manufacturer was making a boatload of money, overpriced e-bikes. Rad Power Bikes brought that price down to about $1,600. That's how much my first e-bike was. And so it was still affordable back then. COVID brought a bunch of new riders to e-bikes just because it was, you were tired of being cramped up inside. It was a fun new activity to do outside. And so prices crept up a little bit. So you're looking at around anywhere between $1,600 and $1,700 for an average e-bike from any big box manufacturer. For any affordable big box manufacturer like Rad Power Bikes. Other manufacturers will still charge $1,800 plus, and they could go up to even $5,000. It's something I think is a little crazy to spend on an electric bike. Wait till that thing gets stolen, and the sadness that will ensue. I couldn't stand for it. So we keep our e-bikes. We have e-bikes in store that we sell for $13.99 and then $15.99. So we still try to stay right below, and we try to be affordable. That's our main goal.
And what exactly was your first eride experience?
Well, I think it was on it was my private bike. It was on a Rad wagon, and that's one of those bicycles that has kind of a long tail on the back. Right. And I can't remember I loved it. That's for sure. But I remember Memorial Day of 2019. I got that e-bike in response to the Don Holt Bridge had a bunch of had a problem with paint, and it was causing traffic. Right. And as a result of that, even it was backing up into Coleman Boulevard. Right. And so that was the kind of the moment where I was like, I'm just going to go on ahead and get an e-bike, and boom, I was having no problems with traffic. I was shooting over to the beach, never dealing with parking. But it was Memorial Day 2019. That was kind of the genesis of the brand. I said, you know what? I had my son on board, my wife, and then I had a beach chair attached to the side of the bike. And I took the whole family to the beach. We parked. We were able to get to and from the beach faster than we could have in a car. And I said, that's it. Like, this is my calling. I'm going to introduce e-bikes to the masses in Charleston. And
what has been the reaction so far? Obviously, you're successful with your business.
Incredibly welcoming across the board. Wow. The locals have been happy. They've been very supportive. The authorities have been supportive. We haven't had any problems with them. I have had no problems running an electric bike. And I understand, it's a new technology on the road, so I'm pretty proud of the community for being so accommodating and adopting. I just think it makes a lot of sense too. So even if they were to not be accommodating, they would be kind of fighting against really just smart, progress.
And what is that progress in your mind when it comes to transportation as a whole in this region?
Well, we are getting a lot better bike infrastructure, but since forever, Charleston's complained about traffic and parking, and this is a real immediate solution for people that need to get anywhere within about a 5-mile radius. an e-bike just makes a ton of sense. It could go even further, 10 miles. The range on your average e-bike is in excess of 20 miles an hour. A lot of manufacturers are going to promise you 35, 40 miles, but go try that e-bike. I don't expect that in many cases, because you can vary how much pedal power you're going to put into the e-bike to extend your range, or you can just ride straight uphill for an hour and you're not going to get quite as much. But really, if you're getting less than 20 miles out of your e-bike, that's the floor for what we see all the time out of our rentals. People get about 20 miles.
Wow, amazing. And you said this too, quote, on the website, we offer unmatched experience with each electric bike purchase, rental, tour, and service that you just mentioned, not only in Charleston, but anywhere in South Carolina. What is that unmatched experience with your bicycles on the road?
Well, we just think that our customer service level, we just don't say no to customers. We kind of view ourselves as blue collar. We want to help people at any point. If they come to us and they bought from one of our competitors, we're not mad. We're still here to help you. Right. And, we'll rescue you if you come into a flat tire in one of our rentals. We deliver. I don't know anybody else that's doing the deliveries like we do. I just think being a new local company here in Charleston, I'm obsessed with customer service. And then we're taking it one step further. We no longer work with middlemen. So, say you buy from any of the franchises, like Rad or anybody else. You're still going to have to pay that. You're paying that company. So we import our e-bikes directly from the manufacturer. So there's nobody else involved in the bike design and in the sale. It's entirely us. And the reason for that, again, is just to keep prices as low as possible. But also I started as a Rad fleet, and in 2019 they got too big, and you used to be able to get somebody on the phone, and now you can't. And so even me as a representative for them, they were raising prices to me and lowering the customer service, and I couldn't get parts that I would need. So I said, I'm tired of this. I don't know why I'm looking to Rad for parts that are available online for me. And so I just decided to go my own route and control the entire process. And so I have spare parts for every bike that I carry, and we have a lot of bikes.
What route do you think these manufacturers will take when it comes to prices and customer service in the next 4 to 5 years?
Prices, I would expect to continue to rise because demand has been surging. E-bikes really are outpacing car sales out in Europe. Wow. In America, they're up year over year, probably over 150%, something like that. I've seen a figure like that. So when people come to me, a lot of e-bike shoppers get caught up in what I call analysis paralysis. Everyone's heard that. You can shop around for these shop around e-bikes, you get dizzy as you're starting to see all the various specifications that you can change and alter. And ultimately, at the end of the day, unless you're going to actually ride on that e-bike, you have no idea what kind of performance you're going to get out of it. We have two different bikes, one from a brand called Hemingway and one from Rad. Same exact specifications. The Hemingway will throw you out of the seat if you don't mess with the settings prior to opening that box. So I would say that we're going to see increased prices, and I think we're going to see less and less customer service just because these companies, from what I'm witnessing from Rad, who used to be known for great customer service, they moved into, I think when you want to get help from Rad, you go to a place called Zendesk. I, to this day, can't figure out what Zendesk, you can't talk to the same person twice. So what you do is you tell somebody about a problem, and then they give you some kind of solution, but you'll never find that person again. And so, I think getting somebody on the phone is super important for, any bike sale or any e-bike sale.
And I hate to be redundant about this, Ellsworth, but let me ask you this. What exactly is that performance on your typical bicycles?
The performance?
Yes, sir.
So, we govern our e-bikes to state law, so they're 20 miles an hour. Our range is about 25 to 35 miles. We have a model that has, which I think is incredibly innovative. It's a step through, we call it the Town and Country, and it has torque sensing pedal assist. Every e-bike that you buy underneath $2,000 has something called cadence-based pedal assist. And that means if you just move your pedals, it doesn't care how hard you're moving, it's going to send a signal to the motor to turn on. That's a little confusing we go through a demo process to absolve this, but it's confusing for first-time riders thinking they're going to do a slow speed maneuver and then they move their pedals and that motor kicks on. So torque sensing pedal assist solves that problem by measuring how hard the person's pressing the pedal, and it sends the signal, tapers that signal to the motor correspondingly. It's a much more intuitive, more bicycle ride experience than cadence-based pedal assist.
And what was that model like in 2018 and 19 versus right now?
I mean, as far as innovation between 2018 and 2021, you know, I'm not seeing a ton of change in that 2-year time period. I think largely it's just the companies are trying to keep up with demand. So they are just trying to maintain a certain price and buy a bunch. Of course, innovation is coming. I don't think e-bikes are a fad. This is a real transformational way to get around cities. And so I expect as they come along, prices to probably stabilize. I don't expect them to drop dramatically unless battery price, you know, the expensive part on e-bikes are battery and the motor. And then, you know, some companies charge a lot for the brand name. I've partnered with a company that has rear view cameras with AI detection to warn you if a car is oncoming, or it can tell if a stop sign's ahead of you is red or green. It also it has a camera right on the handlebar that'll inform the fleet operator if the person's wearing a helmet. I elected not to go with that route because I didn't want my customers to have a camera looking right up their nose as they're riding the bicycle. So I didn't use that. But I do think safety features are coming, and I think we'll start to move toward more torque sensing pedal assist. It's just a little bit better than cadence based.
Wow. And let's talk about the service experience. What is that typical service experience when someone walks into your door?
We try to be friends with these people. We try to make sure we show them where to ride. We take the time to make sure they're very comfortable on the e-bike. This for the rental experience. For the deliveries, you know, we'll meet you wherever you want to meet us. And then if you're, you know, 30 minutes late or 15 or even an hour late, we're not there to hammer you for being late. We're happy you booked with us, and you know, we're yes men to you, and we deliver on that promise.
And lastly, let me ask you this. Obviously, you've been in business for some time now. How many electric bike purchases have been made since the inception of Rebellion Bikes?
So Rebellion Roads started at its core as strictly a rental and tours company, carrying rad power bikes. We would use a referral code, and our customers would use that code, and so we made about 100 sales using that referral code. And that has slowed down because, you know, we've sort of diverged a little bit from rad. We still think it's a great company, and, you know, I think it's a good fail-safe bike. If you don't want to try the bike before riding it, you really can't go wrong with them. But, you know, at the same time, you are going to overpay, and, you know, their warranty, it does, it's not easy to get somebody to actuate, to implement it. One of the reasons I switched to is I had a failed battery, and I called them, and they said, "No, you're a fleet. We're not going to replace that." And it was a defect, and that infuriated me. And I had to beg them, be like, "Look, I'm a new fleet. I need help." And then finally they yielded. But the defected battery not being replaced on a new bike like that bothered me.
Wow, amazing. Well, Ellsworth Weatherby, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome to Quintin's Close Ups. I know you're busy, so I'm going to let you go here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here.
Likewise. Thank you.